Hi, Brian McCordy here from Black Belt Lean Thinking, author of The X Factor, the Lean Business Model. I want to talk to you about the 4 phases of lean. It's very important that we understand these and that our employees do, because this becomes our roadmap. And like any roadmap, we gain confidence by knowing where we're at and where we're heading. As I mentioned in the introduction, there are 4 phases to lean that we want people to understand. Again, this is going to become our roadmap, and a roadmap gives us confidence because it gives us a point of reference. We know where we're at, we know where we're heading. And we want to create that pull, and we want to make this very simple for employees and everyone to understand. So let's look at those 4 levels. And we'll first look at them in terms of just the 4 levels of knowledge, which is what lean, the 4 levels of lean really just reflect. The 4 levels of knowledge are actually ignorance, awareness, practice, and then mastery. And let's look at it from the standpoint of just a random subject. Let's pick French cooking. So in that first phase, ignorance, I've never heard of French cooking. I've never been to a French restaurant. I have no clue that it even exists. Level 2, awareness. A friend takes me to a French restaurant. I tried the food. Hey, I really like this. Level 3, practice. I buy a French cookbook, I look at some videos, and I learn how to make French food. It's not great, I wouldn't eat it myself, but I would gladly serve it to my friends and relatives. Now moving into level 4. Level 4 is mastery. Not only do I learn how to cook the food, but I go to culinary school. I have become a chef. So people pay large sums of money and travel from great distances to taste my great French cooking. It's become intuitive. Now those are the levels that we want to take our employees through when it comes to lean. So let's look through these briefly. That first one, ignorance, that's really the introduction level. So if you have a workforce that's never been exposed to lean thinking before or lean manufacturing, the main word you want to focus on for them is benefits. As adults, we learn on an as-needed basis. Unless we see the benefits for something, we're not going to learn it. When people push things on us, we tend to push back. You need to create pull, and you do that by selling the benefits. And I've seen the benefits of lean firsthand, and it really sells itself if you present it correctly. And you're going to present it from the standpoint of showing the main things that lean does, which is lean focuses on 2 core concepts, and that's surfacing problems and waste and continuous improvement. Focusing on the 7 forms of waste: shrinkage, weighting, inventory, motion, transportation, overprocessing, overproduction. And I'd really encourage you to have your employees in phase 2, when you're really teaching this, for them to memorize those things. When they're baking in the back of their mind, they're more apt to surface problems connected with those 7 forms of waste. So again, in level 1, that introduction level, we're selling the benefits. We're showing that really all lean activity, lean thinking, focuses on surfacing problems and continuous improvement. Now, I've had the benefit of, like I mentioned before, teaching new classes on this, the introduction to lean, and it's not uncommon to where people show up for that first class and they don't want to be there, and it's like, this stuff, it's not any good. And by the end of the class, I'm having people come up to me and go, this makes sense. This is not what I thought it would be. I see how this is really going to benefit us. When I hear comments like that, I know that I nailed it. I've heard conversations where employees that have been doing it for a few years were training new employees and teaching them some of these concepts. In one conversation, I remember the senior employee was talking to the newer employee going, you are so lucky because we've been doing this for a while, and the work environment you're entering today is much better than it was a few years ago. And because we're doing these things, a few years from now or even months from now, it's going to be even better, and it'll continue to get better as long as we embrace lean. That told me that the employees had bought into it and they believed in it. So they were really continuing the effort. Okay, so in that first phase, focus on benefits, focus on lean thinking. Okay, now in phase 2, we're gaining that awareness. So this is where your employees are going through training and they're learning about the tools, they're learning about the rules and principles that govern lean, which I'll put those on the slide here rather than spend a lot of time going through them right now. they're focusing on learning those 7 forms of waste. But you're transitioning. It's like getting that French cookbook again. They're starting to learn how to put this to work. And when I'm doing lean training, what I tell my trainees, the people in the class, is that I'm really focusing on a level 2 knowledge for them. So again, if we learn on an as-needed basis, all I want them to do is gain awareness. That way, if they're aware of these things, when they get in a situation where they can use lean thinking, use the lean tools, then they can practice. They can, I'll give them the resources to where they can get the information and put it to work. If they never get in a situation where they can use them, then there's no time wasted because we're only going for an awareness. So again, hopefully I'm creating pull. So in level 2, we want them to learn about the 7 forms of waste. We want them to learn about the rules and principles of lean. We want them to get a basic understanding of the tools. Remember, lean is not tools. If there's a mistake I've seen with lean thinking, is overemphasizing the tools without emphasizing enough the benefits. So they never really see the need to use the tools. Again, if they understand lean thinking, that's servicing problems, making their life better, then they can use the corresponding tool or the proper tool to the corresponding area. 5S+1 for improving their work environment. TPM for improving equipment utilization. Kanban for improving inventory control. So it's just putting the proper tool in the right place and enjoying the benefits from it. Okay, so now let's transition to level 3. Level 3 is about practice. So now we want them to use everything that they become aware of in level 2. So in level 3, hopefully we've got them actually testing the waters with some of the lean tools that they learned about. They're starting to utilize the rules and the principles. They're starting to maybe use tools like value stream mapping and get involved in Kaizens, different projects to drive improvement. And this is where management needs to be very supportive and make sure you have the resources in place to help employees use what they've learned. We want these in their minds kind of like a new tool or a new toy. This is something they can experiment with, so we want to keep it in a very positive light. We want to encourage them to utilize lean thinking. And what you're after is you want them to have lots of wins. So everything they do that uses lean thinking to surface a problem and address it, you want to celebrate it. You want to reward what they've accomplished. You want them to be addicted to winning. So you want to break big projects down into little projects and get them addicted to lots of wins. As time goes on, hopefully they'll slowly end up in that 4th level, that mastery phase. You'll recognize this phase by people have memorized, again, the 7 forms of waste. You can drill them on what lean thinking is all about, and they can tell you, it's all about driving continuous improvement. It's all about surfacing waste throughout the value stream. They understand the basics of lean tools like 5S+1 and again TPM. They're using these things, and hopefully by this point, by mastery, what we want is, as a company, you to kind of go away from lean manufacturing and infuse into this is just how we work. You're no longer talking about lean, you're talking about your production system, which embraces lean thinking. So they know the principles, but lean is no longer a separate initiative. This is how we work. Okay, now I mentioned I'd give you a 5th phase. I've seen companies that wanted a 5th phase, and I can understand that because they want to keep their employees moving forward. You want them always reaching towards something. Same with ourselves. We always need to be reaching for something, creating that pull. Always something better to go towards. Like heading east, you never run out of east. So what concept can we have there to keep employees moving forward? And what I would suggest for that 5th phase is teaching. Really, there are only 4 levels of knowledge. Again, the ignorance where your introduction, awareness, practice, mastery. So what makes sense then is spreading what they've learned. And you'll find that we learn so much more when we start teaching. So if you have a department that's really embraced lean and doing well with it, have them start working with other departments. If you have a site that has really embraced lean and having a lot of good successes with it, then bring in other sites or let some of those employees travel. Let them be ambassadors for lean. So again, it's important to understand those 4 or now 5 levels of lean and be able to recognize where you're at. And I would suggest that you even create criteria to help employees be able to transition from one phase to the next so that you can celebrate it and reward where they're at. Again, we all like wins, we all like successes, and we need to know where we're at. So those are the 4 or now 5 phases of lean, and hopefully this helped you out. So where are you at in your lean journey?